So I don't want you to feel condemned because you have a couple doubts. So let's talk about doubts. Because I have doubts. It's perfectly fine to have doubts. Oh man. We rag on poor Thomas, Doubting Thomas. By the way, if you're ever looking for a good Wi-Fi name, Routing Thomas is a good one. Anyway. Doubting Thomas. Because he wanted to see his hands. And he wanted to see his side and touch them. But Jesus never rebuked Thomas for that.
Right. Made a special trip.
We get in his mind, but we don't ever think, no, but I'd never think that way. I don't think that way. We do. We have our situations where we do. The Father asked Jesus for help in Mark 9:24. I do believe, help me with my unbelief. Hold on, what's that dichotomy? That doesn't make sense. Did Jesus rebuke him? No. You can believe and have unbelief at the same time? It hurts. It hurts to think. David, after crying to God in 2 Samuel 12:22, who knows if God will be gracious and grant me this wish? He was praying because his son was about to pass, and did pass. Who knows? There's a bunch of other verses about that. Joel 2:14. Who knows whether God will relent and leave a message? There was a bunch of who knows, who knows, who knows. We don't. God does what he pleases. God knows all the pieces of the puzzle we can't even begin to explain. I remember when Reinhard Bonnke was asked if he had doubts. He says, yes, he has doubts, but he has doubts about his doubts. And as we continue to grow in Christ, we start to doubt our doubts.
Yeah.
And then we sort of figure it out, and then something else comes up, and we got to doubt those doubts. And it's a continued journey in our lives. Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor.
Neighbor.
Sometimes you gotta doubt your doubts. And it's okay, guys. It's okay. Don't think of doubting as don't take it to the extreme. It's okay to have doubts. There was a story of an altar call where a pastor said the gospel presentation. He said, he says, only if you heard that presentation and you have no doubts, you know 100% that Jesus, and then he gave a list of things, then come up to the front. But I would argue that faith sort of comes with doubts. You might not know 100%. You might not know all the details. You're throwing a lot of stuff at you. You're being washed in blood. Hold on, I just came for Sunday school. I don't want to mess up my shirt. Right? It's a whole thing. There's a lot of confusing, especially with Christian lingo. We're eating some guy. He turned into bread, but hold on, what's that? But this guy's being hung on the cross. He died, but he raised. It's a lot of confusing stuff, especially at first, but even as you go. So it's okay if there's doubts along the way, whether at the beginning or throughout. So I don't want you to feel condemned because you have a couple doubts. In fact, I would argue, here's my argument, you might be in a better place than others who just never address the doubt. Never ever think of it, you just blanket it. Now some people, that works for them, but I think a lot of times if we never address it, then we're kind of like the anxiety thing. We just change the situations. We don't have to deal with doubting. But everybody's different. I just don't want you to kick yourself.